There's a lot of quality isekai out there, especially with insanely overpowered characters, but it can be hard to determine which ones are worth your time and which ones are not. Most of them are good, but there's only a handful that you absolutely need to check out. Great of you to join us at Animeology as we take you on a quest into some animes that you probably haven't seen, but really do need to check out. Number 10. The Slow Life of a Cheat Pharmacist. Definitely one of the more unique anime series we've ever come across, Cheat Pharmacist tells the story of Reiji Kihiro, your average Japanese salesman living a reasonably boring and mundane life. Our hero is transported to a magical fantasy world. In this isekai world, we learn that Reiji is actually extremely gifted, not a great swordsman or insane magic user, but rather unbelievably talented at creating potions. Using his innate strengths in crafting potions, Reiji decides not to go traveling the land in search of adventure, but rather upon opening a highly successful shop. Going for the slice-of-life approach, Cheat Pharmacist is told to us in a series of isolated little stories, light, interesting, and funny. The news of the skilled chemist spreads throughout the realm, and you have no idea who's going to walk through that door. A nice, relaxed watch that is still reasonably new to the anime circuit. Definitely check out The Slow Life of a Cheat Pharmacist. Number 9. Do you love your mum and her 2-hit multi-target attacks? Yet another fun play on the classic isekai genre, Masato Usuki is a teenager that gets extremely annoyed with his overcaring and overbearing mother, but is forced to adventure with her when they both get transported into a fantasy-themed isekai world. Not afraid of some hilarious plot points, it turns out that our MC is actually not that powerful and that his mother is insanely overpowered, easily capable of defeating any enemy that comes across them. Our MC and his mother are forced to travel together. Whilst adventuring, more and more interesting characters start showing up, and the series heads towards a light harem direction. As you can imagine, the humour is thick and we were often rolling on the floor laughing. The story develops in an interesting way, but the character relationships, especially between the mother and son, help make this an extremely unique and enjoyable watch. Number 8. Drifters. Conceptually, this is one of the coolest animes around. An awesome sense of adventure in an isekai world with a really well done dark fantasy setting. The series aims for some levels of historical accuracy as we follow Shimatsu Toyoisha, a real-life fighter that manages to defeat his enemies but is critically wounded in the process. Stumbling from the battlefield, our MC is transported to another world. It's here that Toyoisha meets many other great warriors from throughout history. They've all been transported to this distant world, a world filled with humans and fantasy races, elves, dwarfs, and hobbits. Unfortunately, this is a world at war and the humans are losing. Desperate for help against the enemy, which utilize vicious creatures like dragons and giants, magicians have called for help and summoned the greatest human warriors of another realm for assistance. Really fun and absolutely stylish, seeing an anime reimagining of the famous and great warriors from throughout history was always a joy. We won't reveal too much for fear of spoiling, but trust us when we tell you that Drifters is one in a million anime series. Number 7. Full Dive. A great rendition of the classic isekai video game subgenre, Full Dive focuses on Hiroshi Yuki, a young high schooler that is seriously addicted to virtual reality games. Forced into buying and trying out Kiwami Quest, our hero soon learns that this game is far more unique than anything he's ever come across. The game is dedicated to realism, an unbelievably difficult and troublesome game Hiroshi refuses to give up. Determined to finish the game, Full Dive kicks off in a really interesting way as soon as we realise that the world of Kiwami Quest has more to it. Joined by an interesting cast of characters in the game world, Full Dive not only fills us with an epic sense of adventure, but still looks to explore some deeper emotional notes. Romance, friendship, loyalty, and bravery are all considered in a very mature and somewhat unique way. A fantastic watch and a brilliant series that you definitely need to check out. Number 6. How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. Every now and then, an anime comes around and attempts to shake up and question everything we know about the genre. Realist Hero sets out and achieves exactly that, following Kazuya Soma, a hard-working and intelligent student that wakes up in a magical medieval fantasy realm. Summoned to this world in order to defeat a demon lord, Kazuya has no real motivation to depart on that potentially epic adventure. Instead, he opts to remain in the kingdom he arrived and attempts to fix the civilization and improve the life of its inhabitants. Through huge political reforms, the standard of living actually improves. People are actually benefiting from his arrival in this isekai world. Unfortunately, civil unrest breaks out and the nation soon goes to war. Realist Hero certainly keeps the story fresh and flowing as the stakes increase, and our MC is certainly put to the test. Number 5. 7 Nights Revolution. Based on a highly successful role-playing game, this anime series focuses on the core mechanics and world building whilst exploring a unique and fresh storyline that is able to stand on its very own merits. This isekai world was once troubled by an evil goddess, until she was stopped by a collection of 7 insanely powerful knights. Warriors chosen by God, years have passed since this epic battle, and an institution is established in order of these legendary warriors. Looking to focus on the unbelievable combat skills and channel the power of the original heroes, this new generation of heroes are nowhere near as mature or experienced as the original 7 knights, but have no choice but to step up when the evil goddess cult attempts to destroy the world once again. An interesting story with some very heavy world building, very funny action scenes, and an ever-twisting and interesting story. 7 Nights Revolution is a quality anime series that you do not want to miss out on. Number 4. Arata Kangatari. A light but enjoyable high fantasy series, Arata is a brilliant series that chooses to revel in the isekai experience in a very fresh and unique way. We learn of a modern-day Japan and a mythical isekai realm. The story kicks off with 2 characters named Arata switching places. The series brilliantly tells us the tale of 2 isekai stories, a normal world into a fantasy and vice versa. On one end, we see Arata learn about this magical world and the heavy and serious political upsets and dangers facing it, while on the other, we see another Arata attempting to integrate into high school life. Unfortunately, evil beings have followed the other Arata into modern-day Japan, and we slowly start to see that these 2 worlds are far more intertwined than we originally envisioned. It's hard to keep talking about Arata without dropping spoilers, so do yourself a favour and definitely check out Arata Kangatari. Number 3. Sukasuka. Set around 500 years past the human race almost got wiped out due to these savage and powerful beasts, the rest of humanity is forced to live in floating islands in the sky. The ground is covered with huge vicious animals, but in the sky we only have to worry about the threat of flying and mobile beasts. Our best defenders are a group of young girls referred to as leprechauns, the only people capable of wielding these ancient and powerful weapons that can defend us from these dangerous creatures. High-octane action where anyone can die. The backstory and setting of World End has us hooked, but the story really starts to develop in an interesting way with the introduction of a mysterious man. From 500 years ago, he was frozen in ice, now unfrozen but incapable of actually fighting. Willem assumed the role of a father figure to this group of deadly girls, guiding them and teaching them. The interrelationship starts to develop in a very unique and distinct way. It's rare to experience these sorts of emotions and paternal love in the middle of an epic battle against a horrific beast. Number 2. 86. A bit more serious than most with its heavy dose of science fiction, the primary romance and more mature approach to action really sets 86 apart from most animes out there right now. Set against the backdrop of two nations at war for around 9 years, we learn of these mechas known as juggernauts. Controlled by a handler, the story of 86 starts to take a heavy hand into politics and more serious issues plaguing the world. We follow Shani Nauzen, a leader of one of these elite mecha battle units, only 16 years old, but a seasoned and veteran fighter. A loyal and honest soldier, Shenzi is no stranger to death, with countless comrades dying by his side. An absolute ruthless MC and one of the coolest characters we've got for you. The perfect individual to take us into this insane world that really goes to new levels. And number 1, Gargantua of the Varudis Planet. A fun fish-out-of-water story that's set against a high-concept science fiction background. The true strength of Gargantua of the Varudis Planet is the interesting chemistry the main character maintains with the cast he encounters, telling us of a distant future where mankind has already taken to the stars and formed a galactic alliance. Caught up in an epic war between humans and squid-like aliens, humanity is on the ropes. The story focuses on a 16-year-old soldier known as Lido, a pilot of a technologically advanced mech and tasked with destroying an enemy superweapon. Lido is thrown into a wormhole and teleported to an Isekai universe. Awakening on a distant and foreign planet, Lido learns of these primitive humans and an Earth that is so far underdeveloped. Having never been to Earth before, Lido has no time to think back on his childhood stories and rumours of Earth. He focuses on trying to get back and help the war effort, but finds himself getting used to the language, the culture and the lifestyle of the planet Gargantua.